All right. TikTok in the house. Welcome in, everyone. Get started in a few seconds. LinkedIn, welcome. Facebook, welcome in. And YouTube, let's kick off. Hey, my name's John. I'm a staff software engineer with over 10 years of experience. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io. That's the website in front of us. It's an educational platform where you can learn to code, land your first or next programming role. And it's also a social network where you can meet hundreds of other developers. Today, we are working on issue number 341, which is to deprecate Blitz app. Blitz is a higher order framework. It's a toolkit for Next.js. And I'm migrating to T3. So T3 would be create T3 app. It's a different higher order framework. Why are we migrating between frameworks? Basically, T3 is better maintained, and critically, Google sign-on. Google sign-on. So Google sign-on is such a powerful, important feature, according to you, the users, that I would shift frameworks to use it. So it's not well supported in Blitz.js. Okay, so that is the issue, and this has been going on for a while. If you've been to the channel in the past, you may have seen me working on this. I think we have go live finally. This is the closer. So all of the pages have been migrated, at least all of the pages that I'm going live with, and now we are on to build fixes. So there will be lots of build fixes and lint fixes, basically dealing with a linter at this point. Maybe a bit of a boring task. Welcome to software engineering. This will be an actual preview of what the job is like. So I was actually working on fixing some linter issues during the day job before I came to work on the side project. So this is a real thing that happens in the industry. And basically, you open up your terminal and you see these issues. The warnings, we might fix some of them, but we can skip a lot of them. There's only a few real errors in here, and we need to basically decide, are we going to enable this lint rule so that it doesn't block the build? We can change it to a warning, but that's a risky move because we'll be allowing an unsafe return type in this case. So we can sometimes change the error to be a warning, or otherwise we have to change the code under error to fix the error. And I think in the majority of cases that's what we'll be doing, is fixing these errors. And there's something like maybe 10 or 20 of them. And if we have spare time, we'll fix some of the warnings. So that is going to be the main content of today's stream. You can see here on localhost, I've stripped out some of the features. So the top honors leaderboard is available at Latterly.io right now, but this feature is hardly used. So you can see there's 0 votes for these companies. So this will be one of the features that's stripped out. You can see in this new version from localhost, the top honors leaderboard is just not there. So some of the features available today are being paused, and that's a strategic decision alongside the migration to ensure rapid delivery of the high-value feature, the Google sign-on, which has been highly requested. Okay, so let's dive in. So I'm pretending that I'm Vercel. Vercel is the build and deploy platform. And if I try to build, I get these issues. So the Vercel build fails, and we can see that in GitHub as well. If I come over here to the GitHub issue, you can see these failures from Vercel are simply the same errors. And there, as I said, there looks like there's 10 or 20 of them. So let's tackle these file by file. There's a couple different strategies. One is you could go file by file. The other is you could go error class by error class. And we may toggle back and forth between them if we notice a bunch of overlap and if there's like an easy fix that I can roll out across the files. But as a starting point, we'll just pick one of these files. I'll go over here to the auth server TS file. And I can make heavy use of the cursor composer to speed this up. So it's complaining about line 263, column 3. Scrolling down to line 263. It's complaining about this line. So let's see. This assertion is unnecessary since it does not change the type of the expression. Well, that seems pretty easy to fix. Sometimes I like unnecessary type assertions. Oh, yeah, there's a better way to do it. I like it because it's explicit. So the developer awareness. So I could just do that, right? But then the developer is going, well, what is this? So I can retain the explicit nature of this assertion by doing it this way. So let's see if that got rid of the auth_ts error. Good. Okay, so there's one down. Let's go to Stripe checkout button. Line 8, use a bang assertion to more succinctly remove null and undefineds from the type. Yeah, so here I'm just casting it to string when it could be undefined. That's just not safe. Better to, I could use the bang operator, or I could do what cursor tab suggested and use the nullish coalescing operator, which will change the undefined. It'll also change null values into an empty string. And I think that's pretty good. It would also be good to just error at this time if I had a null or an undefined. I think this is a perfectly fine fix. Okay, so I'm expecting Stripe checkout button to be free of errors at this point. Welcome in, TikTok, how's it going? So here I'm looking for the Stripe checkout button. There it is, and we have no errors now. We have these unsafe assignment of any value. Let's see. I'm okay with that in some cases. Basically, it's just a pragmatic move. Any is not a great type. In a perfect world with unlimited development time, we would get rid of all the any's. But if it's a code that's heavily under change, it just takes time to well define the type, and then it ends up locking you into the state of the code, which you might not want to do in a rapidly moving project. And this is a side project. I have no tests, no unit testing in this project for the same reason. It enables faster development at higher risk, and I'm okay with that because it's a side project. If this were a commercial project, I would be much more willing to go iron out all of the types in a low-level detail and then add lots and lots of testing as well. If you want to contribute tests, you're more than welcome. Laterally is open source, so check out the repo on GitHub. I'll take a glance at these and see if they're easily fixed. So one is on line 35. And here I do see unsafe assignment of an any value. Here I do see it's not an explicit any. I would prefer, if we're going to use any, let's make it explicit. This is actually not intended to be any. So this is the response JSON producing an any value. So I'm fetching. Yeah, it's just an any by virtue of the fact that the fetch return type is unknown to the compiler. And because it's the Stripe checkout button, this is a case where I'd prefer, I think we could get the type out of this string right here. Nope, it's appending something. So we're pulling out the session ID. The session ID is not stringified in the body. That means it's coming through some sort of metadata. I guess Stripe is going to send us this session ID, even though we didn't ask for it, because Stripe. Just because Stripe. Let's see if I have it typed in the create checkout session endpoint. If I have it typed, I might pull in the type. But if I don't have it typed, I'm just going to trust Stripe. Okay, so here's the endpoint. Here's the Stripe checkout session create. We do have a type here. Okay, so this might not be too much work then. So we'll grab this type and say this is not just a response. You can see if I hover, it thinks it's a response. This is not just a response, it is in fact a Stripe response. All right, and it is not happy with that. TRPC should be getting us away from this issue, by the way. Yeah, I could refactor this to use TRPC. That's an exact case of it's going to take more time, and I don't want to do it right now. Maybe I could do one of these. I'll try one more thing, and this is going to hit my time box if this doesn't work. So I'll call this Stripe session, Stripe response. Okay, and then session ID. Yeah, and then it's saying that session ID is not expected out of the Stripe session. So at this point, some more work needs to be done to align the types. It's a non-trivial thing. So I'm going to basically backlog it. Lil Rat, what's your opinion of interface-driven design? It's great. How do you mock and test that? I was earlier saying in this side project, I don't have tests. If I were to mock it, there's different ways you could do it. You can just mock it with a JavaScript object literal. You could do that at unit test time. You could do that with Puppeteer if you wanted to do a full integration test. I imagine Stripe has test objects as well. There may be a library package. I haven't looked. So I will backlog. Good question, though. Thanks for being here. So I'll backlog. Stripe checkout button should use TRPC over fetch. And then I'll say currently warns on unsafe assignment of an any value. Because the compiler cannot find the type. And then let me say further, asserting it is illegal in the current code form. So let's refactor to TRPC for better typing. I'll say this is low priority. Lil Rat says, it's pretty nice. I found I can just mock and test with vanilla Jest. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, so if you use a Jest mock, that's a fancier version of a JavaScript object literal that has things like spying built in. Jest is pretty cool. Some people complain that it's old and slow. If you get the newer version of Jest and if you set it up right, it's very fast. I mean, maybe it's slow in the sense that Vitest is a little bit faster, but it's plenty fast enough to not be a development bottleneck. And there's a lot of really nifty features like you say, like it's easy to make these mocks. Okay, menu provider. Here's an actual error, line 12. Line 12, unexpected empty method set menu. Yeah. So we don't want to be having empty functions, right? But the purpose of putting set menu here is so that the type will be enforced on this context. So it's just a placeholder that enforces the type, basically. So this could be a candidate for a ignore marker, but I'd prefer to not do that if there's an easy way to avoid it. One thing we could do is we could go to this type and say that it could be null. So we could say null or. So if we do that, then we can do this. The problem there is that forever now, the context could be null, which I don't actually want that to be the case. So let's look for usages of this set menu. There's a lot of usages, right? Yeah, cannot invoke an object which is possibly null. So now I would need to go through and say, like, if you exist, Lil Rat says, as long as you parallelize the tests, it's not too bad. Pro tip, for sure. When you're using Jest, you can parallelize them. You can also run them in random order, which is a really good thing to do to make sure that you don't have state dependencies between tests. That's a really good test quality move. You can do a similar thing in PyTest in Python world. Okay, so let's see. I don't want this to ever be null. Well, on the other hand, I do null out the others, so maybe it's fine for consistency. I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine. We'll do the null thing. Okay, so you can be null now. You can be null now. That's fine. I don't want to just say that having empty functions is just a warning. It really shouldn't happen. So that's the price we pay for these. The benefits of linting is sometimes it does something a little annoying like this. Little inconvenient. A little inconvenience is often worth it. Using that cursor tab to fix these up, it's not that big of a lift, is it? My bigger concern is we should never get in a state where those are null, so I'd actually rather them error, and I don't want to implement error checking everywhere. Jane Perez, thanks for the follow. What is TSX? It is TypeScript with JSX. Nailed it. Exactly right. TypeScript with JSX. Okay, so I think that's it, and we'll want to go... These are Blitz app references. They're not relevant. We'll want to go to a functional test to make sure we didn't break, excuse me, the menu. It's really just two components affected, okay? So let me npm run dev, and I'll verify that these are the top nav menu kind of like accordion things. So I'll just go make sure that they're working. Kim, thank you for the follow. All right, so here we are on localhost, and we can see that these things are still working. And what if I go into mobile menu? Then these things are still working. So it's fine. It's not that big of a problem. So this will be fix, or feature, I guess, nullable set menu on context, and some build fixes. Okay. So if I had implemented unit testing, maybe I wouldn't have needed to start the server and manually verify. Maybe I could have just run the unit tests. But we have manual validation in its place today. Next is the labeled text field. Let's close the others so we can focus in. 2 errors in this one, so line 18. It's going to say component definition is missing a display name. It's because we're using this forward ref thing. Okay, this one I'll throw to cursor. So I'll say given, how can we fix component definition is fixing a display name. So it's saying you could change it to a warning or by explicitly naming components. The first approach is simpler if you don't need this check. The second approach is better for debugging and dev tools but requires more code. Let's take a peek. So how is it going to name it? It's going to say it'll give it the colon syntax. That doesn't seem to be important at all. Ah, it's literally just tagging display name here. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So I'll reject these out of Composer, but I'll use the tip anyway. So we have the display name there, and another case on the labeled checkbox field. So we'll just come to, I guess I'll go at the bottom of the file. That's one thing I don't like about this display name pattern is it feels sort of scattered, doesn't it? I'll put it there at the bottom of the file. And now let's fix the unsafe return on line 30 in the labeled text field. All right, so it's worried about destructuring what might be an any value. So let's say if there are no field props, then we'll use this object. So then we're falling back to destructuring an object. I might need to do a type of to ensure that it's an object. Labeled text field. Yeah, it's still oh, it's complaining on line 30 actually. Okay. So I fixed the wrong line. So it's complaining about this letter V. So this could be any field. We are going to use the name and we're going to parse its props. So if it's a number, we'll say parse it as a number. Let me see, where's this being used? I might just be able to remove that feature. Turn, I just arrived. What are you guys coding? We are working on fixing a build for the migration of the Latterly website right here. Link is in bio if you want to check it out. You can go, there's already a stable production version. You can go sign up, you can learn to code over there, you can social network with everyone. There's a Discord if you want to join. Would love to see you there. This is a migration to a new framework, and that's what we're validating. Okay, so this stuff is used all over the place. Here we've got prop. Yeah, I think I might just need to enumerate the valid prop types. So here's a name, email, name, password. Type. We do type email. Oh, this is under the Blitz app. That's not necessary. Okay, so it looks like there's only a few types, so we can enumerate the types. I think that's a better solution. Type email, type password. And what are the, so type text, yeah. Cursor tab coming in clutch. Okay, cool. So there's only like email, password, and text and number. There's only like 4 to deal with here. Props are coming in over here. I'm going to say let type I'll make a utility function. And this will be get input type. Get input type. No, I messed that up somehow. What did I do? String is not assignable to value any name string. Because I want to actually return a parser, right? Okay, so if type is number, we'll return number. Where is this coming from? I wonder if that number parser was ever working. React final form. Let's ask cursor. Does React final form have an email parser? Or should we use the standard string parser? While it's thinking, we'll check. React final form parse number. I think it would just be a string, right? Let's check. Parse email. Oh, Google had a little tip here. Yeah, it said to do this. You should use the standard string parser, okay? Hey. What's that?
So I was looking for Whole30 recipes that we could do. Just because, make it easy on myself, right? Not reinventing the wheel. And you know Mighty Meals, right?
Yeah. Do they have Whole30 now?
Whole30 has it.
Whole30 has their own meals?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So I ordered like 10 that'll get here on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So we can try them out throughout next week. And they're about the same price as Mighty Meals too, which is great.
Cool.
Because no, Mighty Meals does not have a specific, they have like really healthy options, but not Whole30 specifically. So I figured that would be super helpful on the days that I'm at work, because there's not really a whole lot around me
Okay.
aside from going to Giant.
So now we have, it says that it's returning a value of any type. I don't like that. Could be a number.
Sorry, I forgot your stream.
I just want to return this value even if it is not a number. Return number. So if it's a number, we cast it to a number. Otherwise, we will turn an empty string into a null. I don't like that. No. I just want to turn it into a string. Yeah, so it's always a string or a number. It's always a string or a number. Good. Now I have an actual type that's not an any type. Oh, it always wants a string. Well, then why don't I just do this? This is there's no need to make a whole utility function if that's all it is. You just always want a string? Okay, fine. Okay. I think that does it. So numbers will be sent to the server as a string. That's fine. All right, so labeled text field. Let's take a look if the build issues are resolved on this file. Brib Brima, good work, thank you. Wand Wosen, thanks for the follow. So we're looking for labeled text field. And here we go, we got a couple warnings, but the errors are gone. Let's glance at the warnings real quick. So 24. It's just upset about the destructuring. Yeah, I'm going to let that go for now. Okay. So this is a feature. It is explicit labeled text field type and always cast to string. Line 28 is the next complaint. On blur, the value is an any value. And it's very, very upset about that. Unsafe argument of type any assigned to the parameter. Yeah, so this should always be taking an HTML element or an element. I don't know, I might throw this one to cursor. I think we're gonna have to test this one. Labeled autocomplete field. Who's actually using this field? It's in the country dropdown. Yeah, on the settings tab. Okay, so we will test this out. It's on the settings page. And what would the alternative be? So the alternative would be that we use the onBlur function. Are we actually using onBlur? I don't see, so I don't see an onBlur there. If no one is using the blur, we can just remove it. Yeah, I don't see onBlur is used at all. Ah, here we go. No, this is the only place. Okay, we'll just remove it. So that should cure the... Brian, what's up, Brian? That should cure the error about the autocomplete field. Labeled autocomplete field. Yeah, I'm not seeing it there at all. So the whole file is cured. Okay, so this will be feature rm extraneous argument. Maybe that's a fix. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so we'll go to this page. On line 20, we have an error. Okay, so this has an error. We need to await it or catch errors or mark it void. I'll mark this a void. There's nothing expected to be returned from it. And then line 67, a similar issue. We'll call that an explicit void. Line 92, we should change this to a nullish coalescing operator for sure. We could clean up some of the Tailwind syntax. Sure, that's easy enough. We'll do it. Brian says, Happy New Year's. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, man. Same to you. Okay, so line 112, we can change this to use the shorthand size 4 on the H and the W. So size 4 replacing H and W. And similarly on 129, these two classes could be condensed to size 4. The tab is getting it now. Cursor is hooking me up and gave me a freebie. Ring opacity should be replaced with an optional opacity suffix. I don't want to mess up that syntax, so I'll ask Cursor, fix, and then I'll give it this page. Let me stage this before it changes it. Thoughts on AI for boxing? I don't know. I mean, don't put it in a robot, right? I don't want it to beat me. Does the Fight Camp have AI? We use Fight Camp. It's really great. But that's just a bag, and then the sensors go in your gloves. I don't know what it would use AI for, though. Is the glove just going to punch yourself? I think AI for boxing is fine as long as it doesn't fight back. What do you think about that answer, chat?
I mean, I guess you could use it in replacement of
Toby on YouTube. Welcome, Toby. Kafka on Kick says, Sup OG, what you making? We are working on this laterally migration. So here is the new site. Here's production, which is already shipped. And you can see the new site, we trimmed out the top honors leaderboard. But we're changing the framework so that I can offer sign in with Google. That's the real motivation here. So we're working on build fixes like linter issues, minutia that you have to deal with. And it's the boring part, but I think it's good to stream the boring part. People don't really understand that this is what we do. This is a lot of what we do. Ahmad on YouTube, welcome in. User 93, I don't know. He has a crazy long number. He says, oh yeah, they implemented AI to score boxing rounds. Okay, so for the scores, I guess it uses AI. So we can blame AI that I keep losing then. It's beating me without punching me. Jay, thank you for the likes. Over 170 likes. I didn't even ask. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you tap the screen and give it some likes, the algorithm will send the video around. Did you migrate from ChatGPT to Cursor? Is it better? Hey, Cursor with the agent here is, for most coding tasks, it's like way better. It's like way better. There's some stuff that it doesn't do, so there's some reasons you would still want to use ChatGPT. I like the ChatGPT code compiler, but that's like more for recreation and playing games. Like if I want to play D&D, I'll have it roll a die for me So I wouldn't use cursor for that. When it comes to coding, the cursor agent is like undefeated right now. Thanks for the questions, chat. Thanks for being here. Okay, so it changed the dash to a slash. Yep, looks good to me. Okay, do I need to purchase anything? Yeah. Yeah, the cursor with, I'm using Sonnet 3.5. I use the paid version and I recommend it, yeah. I think they have a free version, but I think it has like limits on it. So I don't know about you, but I would think that's annoying. Okay, so I think we fixed this page. It's mad about an invalid CSS class names order. That should be auto-fixed. Here I will fix missing explicit void. I think in this cursor I didn't add the Tailwind extension. Is that the issue? Nope, I got it here. Tailwind lint. So there's like over 8 million uses, rating 4.5. I already have this installed though, right? It doesn't work because I'm using a Tailwind CS. Is that the issue? Or like a TypeScript file instead of JavaScript? Yeah. What a bummer, dude. Is that really the reason? All right, well, we can try changing it to JavaScript. Am I going to wreck everything if I do that? No matching project for document. Kind of want to reload it. No, but it's working, right? Because I have the color palette. Doesn't that mean it's working? See, this is a case where I would go to chat because I don't want to interrupt the context and I don't want it to make a code change here. So let's go to chat. There could be a cursor issue, honestly. Automatic Tailwind sort doesn't work. Should be on the end of the plugin list in Prettier config. Ah, so I don't have that. That's the issue. That's the issue. Okay. So I'm going to put it back to TypeScript. And it's in this top level Prettier. It's installed. And is it just in the wrong spot? Prettierconfig.ts. Prettier config. Well, it's right here. Do I just need to run it? Format. Oh, so this is specifying tailwind config.js. I wonder if that fixed it. No matching project for document. Okay, so it's like latching on. I'm going to ignore this. This is taking up too much time, but it's latching on to my higher order Prettier. That's the issue. Okay. So let me make a GitHub issue for that. We'll put it in the backlog. What keyboard? This is the Red Dragon. Dun dun dun, the Red Dragon. Sounds nice. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, Bathsheba. Good to see you. Thank you for the likes. Frustrated Guy Codes. Welcome on YouTube. Hey, I suck at business. Can you give quick advice and tips? I also suck at business. I don't think I can help you much. Are you talking about working at a business or starting a business? I can tell you a bit about working at one. but not about starting one. I'm trying to figure that one out too. Particularly in tech and particularly with programmers, I think soft skills are underrated. This lower taskbar won't go away. What's up with that? Hopefully I didn't just mess stuff up. I might need to revert that commit. We'll find out when I test. Okay, where are we at now? So there's this slug page has a bunch of issues. What else? Maybe we'll save that one for last. Reset password client page. Line 51. Does that fix it? Are you using snapshots? No, I'm not. I'm not. Feel free to PR them. I mean, you're welcome to. This is the reset password client page. And it still says that it is a unsafe member access. I don't like that it's unknown here. I'm just going to, where am I, by the way? Is this, yeah. I'm just going to say the string every time. Yeah, that's way better, right? That's way better. So if it's a proper error, we'll use the message. Otherwise, we use this string. Frustrated guy coding says, not business, business logics on code. Chat miss. Hey, I'm doing what I can. Yeah, what do you want to know about business logic? So business logic is just arbitrary rules. I tend to like them in the database. In a side project, if there's a few simple ones, you can hard code them, that's fine. But I tend to like them in the database specifically for commercial work. So you can change them on the fly without needing a new deployment and bothering your developers. But a lot of these things you can change if you're doing like a smaller side project. Is there anything in particular that you were wondering about business rules? This forgot password form, unsafe any email string. Line 30, it's right here. So it expects, yeah, it expects variables email string. So I'll need to test the password reset. Okay, now we're using that error message if we provide it. we make sure that the returned values are an object. Really, I don't need to do that because it's like, the only thing it could be is this type right here. Yeah. Cool, that's better. That's better. Good job coding, keep it up, subscribe. Thank you so much, Coding Mountain Man, thanks for being here. Frustrated Guy Codes, I didn't see any follow up on the business logic question. Suki Stang, did you get a TikTok stream key? Yes. Were you given it by Streamlabs? Yes, that's how I got it. You know, your mileage may vary, but that's somehow they gave it to me when I signed up for Streamlabs, the Ultra one. By the way, if you go to Latterly Perks, then there is a discount on Streamlabs if you get the Ultra. I can't guarantee anything for you, but for me, they did give me the stream key. Oh, Ultra, huh? Maybe I'll have to subscribe to get a key. Yeah, I don't know. I can't guarantee it for you, but somehow it worked for me. And it was weird because they didn't even give me an email or anything. It's just when I tried to use TikTok through Ultra, it just worked. So I was like, okay, I'm not complaining. All right, y'all, thanks so much for being here. That's going to do it for me for today. Obviously, you can see we have 3 files remaining.